Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Making Mannequin Heads into Planters! Ha ha! Hi, Patrick Buckley here. How are you? I'm in a wacky mood, so I've had a lot of caffeine. So I'm going to start this with like and subscribe. Tell your friends all about it. So I don't do any editing. I just kind of put it out there, unfiltered, unedited, raw, and silly, and hopefully informative a little bit. So last time I talked to y'all, we were doing her, right? So she's awesome, cool, right? Yeah, I love it. Got to control the her, well, especially while she's outside. So I did 2 braids from the front of her, and doing that in order to control and keep back the hair on the sides. I can always then manipulate the hair once this is pulled back, and it gives me something to sort of work with for how wild or how refined I want her hair to be. So, or if I want bangs, I can always pull them out and give her bangs, like, you know, do like an angled bangs. Oh, that might be kind of cool, right? Underneath of this. Oh, I hadn't thought about that until just now. I really hadn't, actually. So we're going to do, the braids are going to come together. I've got a braid at each temple, just above the ears. And right now, I'm just going to put all the hair behind the braids and bring the braids together in the back. Now, how in the world do you keep them together? Am I going to tie them in a knot, sort of old school, native way of doing it, which I love? I don't know. So let's try that once. I'm going to go right over left, left over right, make a square knot. Oh, that didn't work. So right over left, left over right. There we go. Now it's done correctly. And it's a square knot. So that's loose, so I can always tighten it up. Left over right, because I did right over left. Bring it, tighten it underneath. So maybe this won't work very well, because how can I keep it tight? And it's very slippery synthetic hair. Actually, that's not so bad. But do I like how it looks in the back? Not really. It's kind of meh. It's kind of meh. I mean, it is going to be outside. It does do this, however, to her hair, which is cool. I like that. So let's do this a little differently. Let's use our glue. So I have the, I was using the multi-grip, which is great glue, but I did find my thick viscosity Glue Masters instant glue. So we're going to, I think, do this. I'm going to make sure I'm sort of even to the back. I want it to be tight, so I'm going to actually glue. Let's get it tight from both ends. And then I am going to put glue and hold it. I'm going to put glue on the braid. So here we go. And then they'll just hold each other. I don't want too much, as I've mentioned in the past. When you put too much super glue on, it takes forever to dry. And why is this not? Oh, there we go. It's not, the hole has dried up. Good Lord, what the heck happened here? I must have left it open the last time. Not for terribly long, but of course I can't see. Oh, here it's starting. I don't want it to go on me. So we're gonna cut the end. And, ooh, that's a very large hole now. Yep, there it is. Good. I don't want to have too much. I don't need a lot. I'm going to move it back and forth so it sticks to itself. Deedly deedly do. And pull it and hold it. Now what this is going to do, and I do realize this, is it's going to glue itself to the hair underneath. So I think to give it some body, just the center's part. See, I pull it up a little bit, gives her a little bump in the back. That's kind of what I want. At least then I can do whatever else I want with it. It's not just going to be flat and me bemoaning the fact that it's all glued together. So incredibly enough, that's stuck. All right, so I'm going left over. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. There we go. Actually, I'm going to do the left over right. Tie it down, and I've got it nice and tight. Ooh, Lord. So while I have a chance, left over right. Glue's still a little bit tacky wet. If I pull this in really well, there. Oh, no, that did not work well. Ooh, that is not coming together nicely. So maybe I just leave it like that. What the heck, right? I can always tuck this side under once it's fully dried, and they'll just hang down. Now, I was talking about what other things I could do with it. I can pull hair out on the temple, make it into bangs. I can just pull it up. I can braid it. My thought was that might be kind of cool. Leave her with her hair like this. It's bringing it up. Now remember, when I do spray her later with the, gotta be careful not to scrape off her face, paint. When I do later seal it, I want to make sure that I'm sealing the hair as well, and it'll stay in place. So that's kind of cool. I actually like that shape. It's a little classical in the body. And then I was thinking maybe braiding below the horizontal braid might be really cool, right? Right. I think so. So she's got this body that's in here, but now I have an issue. Look at her scalp. Can you see it? That is the old flesh tone of the rubber. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that as this is going, I am going to eventually, actually I could do it right now. Let her dry. Might as well, right? While I'm thinking of it, a little bit of paint will go a long way on this. I've got my blue out. It is ultramarine. So put a little black up on here so that I can darken it if I need to. Take it down a tone a little bit since it's going to be in the scalp. And that is just Mars Black. Grab a paintbrush. I'm going to use a larger one because I want to dab it. Big old paintbrush. So start out with this. It's not the same color as her skin, but it is the same color as parts of her skin because I used that spray paint on her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to pull this color down onto her scalp. Now it's going into the hair, but what's cool about acrylic paint is I can just use my finger and ta-da, her part is no longer visible. So I'm going to do this also around the edge. Tighten her down again. Wipe the blue off. Tighten it down. There we go. I'm going to do it around the edge, and I'm going to do it with some black so it just blends in. So right along the very edge, if you can see what I'm doing, because it's just so like pale fleshy color. I really don't want it to be so pale fleshy color. Pull down the hair so that I can access the scalp without necessarily putting so much paint on the hair. Get more on there, and I'm just dabbing it on. Yes, there will be soil in there, but I don't want the white foam and the skin color to be a distraction from the rest of the look. So this is cool. Just going right in, pushing it right onto that scalp, the rubber scalp. Ooh, it smells. Oh, hey. Boy, did I get lucky. We use a little teeny water to dilute this. It's very, very heavy. And then, so I just picked up a little bit of black as well to blend it into the blue, to tone that blue down. And then what's going to happen is it's going to, a little bit more water. It's going to be blue-black, which will then blend the scalp to the hair, and you won't notice it. It's kind of like, you know what this reminds me of? Can you tell me what this reminds me of when I'm painting somebody's scalp so that they can't see that it's a balding thing? Oh yes, those embarrassing days of the politicians with their hairspray because they were covering up that they're bald. I think that was Giuliani, actually, maybe. Or, I don't know, it was a New York dude who, poor guy. I mean, you gotta feel for him. He was very misled to think that it was just gonna work for him. If you don't know the story, it was like there was a press conference. There was not a hugely popular dude, a politician, who was giving the press conference, and as he was sweating profusely. And the black spray that you can get to cover up your scalp when you're balding, which in my view, bald is kind of frickin' sexy, but I mean, you got to own it. You can't, half-ass it. So this guy was, I don't know what his thought was. It's an old school thought, that, bald can't be sexy or bald is less powerful. I don't know what the hell the deal was, what the mentality was. But anyway, so it was dripping down his face. The black or dark brown, whatever it was supposed to be, was literally mortifyingly. It was just, poor guy. I mean, it's just such a terrible moment. But he got some really bad advice from somebody, or somebody told him it looked great. I mean, on TV, I guess that would be kind of a way to do it if you don't want to see that you're balding or show that other people. I don't know. I think some people think may seem like they're, aging, and that's a bad thing. I don't understand ageism. I've been on the end of it, trust me, where people have been like, oh, you're older, so you're suddenly not as knowledgeable. Which makes how much sense? Or you are not a resource who can be used because you can't relate. Well, I mean, okay. Admittedly, in some cases, it's not that I can't relate. It's how much do I want to relate? And do I really need to? Do I need to spend the time? In most cases, I should say, yeah, I do. I need to make an effort to relate and to, be part of the society around me. But whatever. So people have. It's interesting. I did it as well when I was younger. There's ageism right there. When I was younger, when I was your age, get off my lawn. Darn kids. Kids these days, I tell you, that's what show is that from? Anybody? Tell me what show that's from? Kids. Da 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 da. Yeah. If you know the show, put it in the comments. So anyway, I'm gonna braid the braid in the back, or do I leave it? It's kind of like sticky outy wingy, so I'm gonna braid it. Oh, I can't. It's two. You can somehow do that, but I don't know how. So maybe what I'll do is, as I braid the back, I will incorporate it in the braids. So I'm going to put a braid in here. I'm only going to do braids here and there. So I think that'll be even cooler. Here we go. Doing one right at the front. It's a cool look. I love it when people do this, and sort of there's a braid underneath, there's a braid on top, and they'll incorporate together into a really, I guess it's kind of hippie-ish, but I don't know. I think that's kind of the idea behind it. I love it. Whatever it is, however you want to define it or call it, you go for it. And call it and define it however you want. So here's some more braiding. Just do quick braids. I don't need to braid the whole thing. What I want to do is I want to make it so that it's not going to be just a mess of hair when the wind comes up and the rain hits it, and it just gets Shaggy McShaggerson. Nothing wrong with Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but we don't want him being sort of our go-to when it comes to, gosh, I start talking, keep talking, and lose my train of thought with the braid. So there we go, keep braiding. I know there's some people who are so fast at this, it's absolutely mind-boggling. So then how am I going to set the braid? bad, Patrick. I didn't put the lid on the glue. How am I going to do that? I am going to just tap it with a little bit of glue and it will hold itself. You could do, so some ideas of what you could do on this is you could put ribbons, which would be very, very pretty and very cool if you got different colored ribbons. You could take paint and do, you know, one strip with a color and paint the actual one strand, you know, one grouping of hairs. I've seen that. I absolutely love that. You could do all 3 strands in 3 different colors and then braid them. However you want to do it. On this one, I'm going to leave them black for now. I may hit them with a highlight of paint. So like a metallic highlight or a blue highlight, which would be kind of just a misting, and it would pick up the highlights and leave the lows low. So that is a potential for very, very cool in my book. There's so many options that you could do before you call it quits. You can also, one of the beauties of this is that you can put it outside, let it weather for a while, and then go, you know, she's missing this. You know, they're missing that. You know, this is something that I wanted to do, or you get inspired and say, oh, this would be cool in this one, and you can just continue to develop it, right? When is it done? It's done when you say it's done, or it's just never done. One of the things as a performer, as a professional musician, singing, at least, well, I know it's in any of my professional musician capacity, things are never done. Things are, I mean, you have goals and you have set dates where you have to perform, and you have a product, right? As a musician, which anybody can relate to. There's a product because you have a deadline that has to be met, and your product is that performance, right? Well, not really. The performance isn't your product. Your product is what you make of it. So part of the product, I mean, part of the functionality of it is that it's not an end product, it's an in-process product. You, in that moment that you perform, in that moment that you present the performance, you are producing what you're producing as the person you are. Whomever you are at that point, physically, emotionally, mentally, that's your product at that point, right? So it goes beyond just what's coming out of your mouth or what's coming off of the instrument. It's much more than that. And you're probably going, what the hell are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about, so this is one of the challenges for musicians, for professional musicians, especially when you're getting paid to do what you do. You got to do the best that you can do with what you've got. Sound familiar in every other profession in the world? Yeah, so, but with a vocalist, you can't buy a new instrument. So you have to prepare yourself as well as you can, be the best musician that you can be the best vocalist that you can be. They're, you know, similar things. I mean, if you're a musician, you sing, then you're a musician who sings. If I'm a musician who plays trombone, then I'm a musician who plays trombone. But what is the common word? Musician. So anyway, so in that moment of you performing, can you ever reclaim that performance exactly? Sure, you can play it back on a recording. Can you ever reproduce that exact performance again? No. I mean, you simply can't. I mean, maybe somebody has a way of doing that. I mean, if you're a robot, you could. If you're, you know, something digital or something synthetic, you could. However, the beauty of live music and performing and the challenge for the performer of any kind, this is in theater, this is in music, this is in everything, this also applies directly to art, is that this is the product I'm creating right now in this body, this mindset, this physicality, emotional state, go back and forth, the spiritual state, like, you know, mind, body, spirit. So if you're thinking mind, it's like, where am I right now that I'm making these decisions to create this product? Body, what can I do physically? I may not have the ability to braid in a while because my hands, because I'm starting to get some, you know, pain in my joints because I've got arthritis in my knuckles. That's starting in at 55, which is just fabulous. I just love it. But anyway, so these things are starting, right? And so I don't know how long I'm going to braid. So later on, I would choose not to braid, maybe. That's a choice I get to make. But as a musician, as an artist, as a performer of any kind, when I do a show, I do a show as the person I am at that moment. Somebody's running water, and that's really kind of wild. I think somebody's taking a shower. I've never heard it from down here. I can't do it as the person I think I'm going to be tomorrow. I can't do it as the person that I think I should have been at that moment. I can do it as the honest to God person I am in the moment of doing it. That's difficult to reconcile. There's always shoulda, coulda, woulda. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Should have done it this way. I should have done this. I should have explored it this way. I should have pronounced this in a different way. I should have blah. Or you could turn it around and say, I shouldn't have this. I shouldn't have that while performing. Or that art piece should not be up on the wall. It's not done. Well, how do you know it's not done? It was done at the moment that you finished it. And then the new you, or the new version of you that is now and today, may look at it and go, oh, I could have done this or this different. Or I'm going to take that down and I'm going to change it. So many artists would take their paintings down, they would leave them, come back to them and paint over them. Or they'd paint over sections of them. I'm not one of those people. When I'm done, I'm done. I can see and learn from what I put out there. Lord, that's a major knot. And I'll look at it and go, oh, next time that I do something similar to this, I am going to try this instead. Or I could have done this, therefore I'm going to learn from what I did the past time. It's not a mistake that I made necessarily. It's a choice that I made of what I was going to do at that time. So, learning process. It depends on how you look at it, how you choose to process emotionally, psychologically, whatever you want to call it, how you want to deal with your art. So when do I let this go? When do I let it be finished? You could have made a choice. If this was your piece, you would have seen it with the hair down and the scalp the way it was, and not done anything after the last session, right? Done the 2 braids, tied them in the back, been done. Or just done the 2 braids and left them. That could have been and it's done. Let it go. For me, I'm doing more on it because I just want to do more on it. There's no right or wrong with it. There's, for me, aesthetically, that could be cool if I tried this. And then step back and look at it and go, yeah, I'm not ready to let it go yet. This has more work that I can do on it that could be really cool and fun or different. And then I'll get to the point where I'm like, and be free. Artwork, be free. Works the same way with performing. I was just talking to one of my voice students. She's got a beautiful voice. We were talking about learning pieces, learning songs, and how esoteric or how in the moment, or how sort of fluid as a singer it is to craft a song. Why did I get most of the work that I got? Well, I wasn't the best singer. I was around people who were had twice as big a voices in opera than I did. But I sang beautifully. I showed up. And my product was the best I could make it because I practiced my ass off. It was a ton of work. And it was work that I sometimes absolutely adored. It was work that I absolutely hated because I felt so frustrated. But it was all work that I understood was going to enable me to do what I wanted to do, which was to sing on the operatic stage professionally, which I did for years, many years. So in order to do that, I knew I needed to do a certain something. I figured it out. And I did that certain something. I was the one who was always knocking down doors saying, hey, have you found somebody? Have you found somebody? Have you found somebody? Last time I talked to you, hadn't found anybody. Or do you need another person? Or has anything changed? I got jobs where I'd call in I'd call in and be like, hey, I heard you lost your tenor, or I heard you lost your baritone. I'm available. And I got the job. So these things are out there. And then I got to be known as that guy who could come in at the last minute, learn a piece really quickly, extremely well, and perform it. That was actually how I got my start. was, you know, of doing actual roles and stuff like that was, can you come in and learn it in a week? And that includes learning music, learning the staging, and perform. And I went, yeah, why not? If I work hard enough, of course I can do that. And I would do it. And I didn't doubt myself to the point where I was unable to do it. I just went, I'm just going to do it. And bang and boomba, the more I did it, the better I got at it. So anyway, so that's today's session. It felt like a psychology session, right? Or instructional, whatever. Little did you know that very little art was going to go on in this one, but more about the world of art and the world of music and how in hand they go. Alrighty? So she's coming along, and I'm not going to do that much more to her. I'm going to continue to braid her, and I will do it while I'm on screen with you. And then I think she's going to be let loose to fly with the birds, or at least sit on a table or on a post. Love them on posts. And get some birdies either nesting in her or having plants coming out of her, because you never know. That might, I don't think a bird would like that. Anyway, all right, you have a wonderful day. Put some more love out in the world, and have a great day. Choose to say hello to somebody. Choose to put some love out on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And like and subscribe. And there's not enough love in the world, so add to it. All right. Have a wonderful day. Bye.